Hey, welcome to my Halloween episode. Now, I could have been cliche and done a zombie or a zombie riff like I've done pretty much every year up until now. But instead, this year I decided to switch it up. Instead, I wanted to tackle one of my most disliked cocktails, and that is the Shrunken Skull. Now, if you stay around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you why this video has nothing to do with authenticity and everything to do with creating the best cocktail possible. So, if you're ready, let's do this. Hey everyone, I'm Andy, and this is Mixing Up Tiki. And today on the video, we're going to be taking a look at two different Shrunken Skull recipes. One, the original from the 1950s, and one from, well, never, I made it up, but we're going to be using an ingredient from the 1900's. The Shrunken Skull was created by Mario Liquidine for the Mai Kai restaurant in the 1950s. You see, this was one of the cocktails that Mario took with him from Don the Beachcomber. When he came over to the Mai Kai, he took a lot of those original Don the Beachcomber recipes and brought them over to the Mai Kai and then slightly tweaked them, either simplifying them or changing the ingredients just slightly to make them his own for the Mai Kai. So we had drinks from Don the Beachcomber like the Dr. Funk, which became the Dr. Fong. We had drinks like the Pearl Diver, which became the Deep Sea Diver. And then we had the Don the Beachcomber original, the Skull and Bones, which most likely became the Shrunken Skull, which we're going to be taking a look at today. For those of you who've been watching this channel for a while, and first of all, thank you so much for the support, or if you haven't, you're going to find out right now, I have a strong, and I can't emphasize that enough, dislike for this cocktail. Yes, it's simple. It's only 4 ingredients and it's all equal parts. But it's always fallen flat for me and had this weird Tootsie Pop flavor that I just can't get behind. I've done multiple videos on this cocktail. I've even done a video where I live workshopped a way to improve it, and yet I still just don't love it. Now, the recipe for the Shrunken Skull might have changed over the years at the Mai Kai, but today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the recipe from Beach Bum Berry. In order to make the 1950s Shrunken Skull, you are going to need a moderately aged rum. I'm going with Bacardi 8, an aged Demerara Rum. I'm going with Hamilton 86, Grenadine, and lime juice. Now, I'm also adding salt solution to this cocktail, and it's not in the original, but I'm adding it because I want everything to pop. So, in order to make your 1950s Shrunken Skull, grab a shaking tin. In a shaking tin, add 5 drops of salt solution, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of lime juice, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of Grenadine, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of your moderately aged rum, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of your aged Demerara rum. Now add some pebble ice and give it a good whip shake for about 5 to 8 seconds. Grab a double old-fashioned glass and open pour in. Top with more pebble ice. Garnish with a mint sprig. And then you have 1950s Shrunken Skull. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. There's a bit of bright citrus. I get that pop of acidity from the Grenadine as well as the sweetness. But the rums aren't really doing much, and still it's leaving this weird Tootsie Pop flavor in the back of my mouth. Now, I think we can all agree that the star of the show is the Grenadine. And please, no matter what you do, never ever, and I mean like never ever, use that neon red Rose's Grenadine. It's literally nothing more than water, sugar, and red dye 40. Now, Grenadine's not hard to make. And to make my Grenadine in a blender, I add 320 grams of Palm Wonderful, 230 grams of sugar, 1.5 grams of citric acid, 2.25 grams of malic acid, and 11.25 grams of pomegranate molasses. Blend on high until all the sugar is dissolved, about 2 minutes. Pour into a sanitized bottle. I love these little crew chubbies. This makes about 450 milliliters of a 50 bricks or simple syrup. Keep it in the refrigerator and use it within 2 weeks. But what if there were a different way to make Grenadine? Now, I stumbled upon a channel called Art of Drink, and in there the host Darcy O'Neill had a video where he made a Grenadine essence. I thought to myself, interesting. So I did a little bit of digging into Grenadine. Now, one of the first accounts of an actual Grenadine syrup that we see is in a trademark filed in 1870 for a Granada syrup, or a grenade syrup. Unfortunately, the court turned down the trademark because they deemed that you couldn't trademark the French word for pomegranate. And honestly, it's here where I think a lot of things start to go awry. Now, yes, in French, Grenadine literally means pomegranate-y. But there's also something else that goes by the term Grenadine as well, and that is a flower known as a clove pink, which has the nickname of Grenadine. Now, clove pinks are a variety of carnation, and historically they were used steeped in syrup, used to mask the taste of terrible medicine. Now, thankfully, old chemists and soda jerks would actually record their recipes because they wanted to get them published for credibility. And it's here in the Standard Manual of Sodas that we find a recipe for grenadine essence from 1901 that was used to mimic the same flavor profile of that syrup steeped with those flowers. So to make a grenadine essence in a bottle, add 3 drops of clove oil, 9 drops of sweet orange oil, 2.5 milliliters of vanilla extract, 2 milliliters of ginger extract, 30 milliliters of maraschino liqueur, 60 milliliters of distilled water, 8 milliliters of acid phosphate, and 137 milliliters of Everclear. Now shake the bottle to combine, mix about 240 milliliters, and is shelf stable. So now we're going to be using this grenadine essence to make a new version, actually a old version, of a Shrunken Skull. And to make our 1900's version of a Shrunken Skull, you are going to need a moderately aged rum. Again, I'm using Bacardi 8, an aged Demerara Rum, again going with Hamilton 86, cane syrup, lime juice, grenadine essence, and salt solution. Now another additional ingredient is cochineal tincture. This is used to actually color our syrup or our cocktail that nice deep red color. Because the essence doesn't have that, it wouldn't be the same color. Now, this is optional and you can go without it, but again, the cocktail's not gonna be red. Fun fact, cochineal is actually what was used to dye and color Campari, although nowadays they use synthetic dyes, which is just not as cool. All right, so let's make our 1900 Shrunken Skull. In a shaking tin, add 5 drops of salt solution, 4 drops of our cochineal tincture, 12 drops of our grenadine essence, 1 ounce of 30 milliliters of lime juice, 1 ounce of 30 milliliters of our cane syrup, 1 ounce of 30 milliliters of our moderately aged rum, 1 ounce of 30 milliliters of our aged Demerara rum. Now add pebble ice and whip shake for about 5 to 8 seconds. Grab a double old-fashioned glass and open pour in. Top with more pebble ice. And garnish with a mint sprig. And there we have it, our 1900 Shrunken Skull. Let's give it a try. So, first off, you notice the color is a little different, it's not as red, and basically we get to adjust that on the fly by adding more cochineal tincture if we want to. I don't mind the color of this, it's not as red. Give me one time, I'll go grab the other one. I mean, it's definitely not as red as the 1950s Shrunken Skull, but I can actually change that. I just add more tincture and then it becomes, well, more red. So luckily, that's an easy thing to fix. Now, the flavor. I like it better. I think it is more well balanced. It has those same fruity notes that we get from the pomegranate grenadine, but there's this little additional layer of spice that we get from the ginger and we get from the clove oil inside the grenadine essence. Not only that, but by separating the syrup and the essence, I can actually control in a much easier way how much sweetness and how intense the grenadine flavor is. I could use less cane syrup or more, I could use less grenadine essence or more. And by doing it this way, it actually provides me with a little bit more control. So overall, which one do I like better? I'm gonna give it to the 1900's Grenadine and the 1900 Shrunken Skull. I just prefer it more. Now, with that said, you've made it to the end of the video, and I wanna talk about what I said in the beginning, how this video has nothing to do with authenticity and everything to do with producing the best cocktail possible. And that's because, well, Trader Vic and Don and all the old school Tiki mixologists used pomegranate grenadine. They didn't use a grenadine essence like the old soda jerks, and instead actually called for, and in Vic's bartending guide, calls for pomegranate grenadine. So this is actually more original. I just think this tastes better. So yeah, that's it. Again, this isn't authentic. I just think this is a better cocktail. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribe over on Patreon. Follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at MixingUpTiki. And that's it. Until next time, guys, take it easy.